Welcome back to Piper's podcast for petty professionals in politics. Today I'm joined here with Chad Miller and Sharon Smith, and I am Piper Lyon. On this episode, we will be discussing immigration policies and the Muslim travel ban with college students. Chad and Sharon, do you guys want to give a little introduction to our listeners?
Thanks, Piper. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm Chad Miller, born and raised in sunny Florida. I'm a full-time student at SDSU, but I'm also the president of SDSU's College Republicans Club. I'm really excited to give my views on how the Muslim ban can actually benefit our country and why Trump's latest policy could actually help our country.
And I'm Sharon Smith, originally from Scranton, Pennsylvania, but I go to UCI. I'm looking forward to talking about the travel ban, especially since I support immigration rights and am an active member of the National Network for Immigration and Refugee Rights, or the NNIRR for short.
Thank you, Sharon and Chad, for joining us today. We know that immigration is a serious topic here in the U.S. In 2017, Trump enacted Executive Order Number 13769, titled Protecting the Nation from Foreign Terrorist Entry into the U.S. The order bans 7 Muslim countries from entering the U.S. as well as coming out. Here is what Trump had to say about it. Also, we have another clip from Trevor Noah's The Daily Show on Comedy Central. Here's what Trevor Noah had to say about the ban. Recently, the State Department refused more than 37,000 visa applications in 2018 due to the Trump administration's travel ban, up from less than 1,000 the previous year when the ban had not fully taken effect. This data has sparked new controversy on this policy and has shown how much this policy has actually affected the country. What were your initial thoughts on the ban?
Well, I'm all for it. The ban seems like a good way to protect the safety and well-being of our country. What about you, Sharon?
Even the title of the executive order is insulting and racist, making our country look xenophobic. A real-life example showing why this ban is bullshit is the New York terrorist attack on Halloween of 2017 in Manhattan. The perpetrator of the attack, Sayfullo Saipov, is a 29-year-old immigrant to the United States from Uzbekistan. However, he immigrated here in 2010. His case has nothing to do with bad people sneaking into the country. The real challenge is dealing with people already in the U.S., immigrants or native-born, who are radicalized to violence within its borders.
I don't know if I agree with you, Sharon. The facts are that Muslim immigrants are way more likely to plot some terrorist attack against the U.S. Here's a clip from Fox News, America's favorite source of unbiased news. This clip outlines the benefits of the ban from the views of a Muslim person. Clearly, even Muslims advocate for the safety of our country over anything. There's been far too many instances of crimes from illegal immigrants in our country for the U.S. to simply do nothing. The amount of Muslims entering our country each year has risen from 2007, and according to the Pew Research Center, the Muslim population in the U.S. has increased from 2.3 million in 2007 to 3.45 million in 2017. That's a big difference. These numbers continue to rise, and so does our risk of terrorism.
I think I still agree with Sharon. A lot of Muslim Americans are trying to live their normal lives. For example, I recently watched a comedy film on Netflix performed by Hassan Minhaj, who is a Muslim American with parents who are immigrants from India. Here's a short clip explaining the struggles his mother faced when trying to get an American visa.
Exactly, Piper. Even before the travel ban, it was difficult for Muslims to come into the U.S. The travel ban was only motivated by xenophobia and has not made any significant progress in reducing the amount of terrorism in our country, according to the Cato Institute. The original order presented in 2017 was found unconstitutional by the Supreme Court and had to be revised multiple times.
So what are your opinions on the immigration raids?
Well, funny you should ask, because I recently read a chapter from a textbook called Shaped by the West, Volume 2, by Deverell and Hyde. And the chapter called Immigration Roils the West, there was an immigration raid in Wyoming. And teams of federal officials and local police entered hotels and restaurants asking dark-skinned workers for their immigration papers. This shows just how racist these workers are, just by assuming dark-skinned people, like, instead of walking up to a white-skinned person and asking them for their papers, they would only target people who looked ethnic. That's a whole other issue. And these federal officials busted 120 Mexican undocumented workers. But just over a little week after they busted the 120 workers, 116 were already back on the job in Wyoming. This proves that the immigration raids are just completely stupid and pointless. And one of the workers called it himself, quote, really stupid, unquote.
Well, actually, Sharon, I also read DeVrel and Hyde because I was assigned that for SDSU. And what I remember clearly from Trump's statements, he also said he's removing gang members, drug dealers, and criminals that threaten his community. He says, bad ones are going out as I speak tonight, and as I have promised. Therefore, there is a reason for these immigration raids, because we need them in order to remove criminals and drugs from our country and keep our country pure.
Speaking of immigration raids, the Immigration Enforcement Customs, or ICE, their mission statement is to promote homeland security and public safety by enforcing U.S. federal criminal and civil laws concerning border control, customs, trade, and immigration. Do you guys believe they accomplish this?
Personally, I believe they do their best to uphold this mission statement. ICE is just doing their job, protecting the country and stuff. Everyone gets mad at cops too, but you need them to maintain order and keep people safe.
Alright, Chad, well, I personally disagree. I believe ICE is harmful more than it is helpful, and their removal of undocumented workers by force only tears families apart. An example of this is depicted in Lin-Manuel Miranda's powerful music video, Immigrants, We Get the Job Done.
This isn't the only time Trump's policies have made a big impact on the country. In 2018, Trump's government shutdown had many people angry. On January 24, 2019, Hawaii News Now published an article called "With No End in Sight to Government Shutdown, TSA Agents at Hawaii Airports Start to Resign" by Allison Blair. It reported that TSA officers in Hawaii airports had started turning in their resignations and that the amount of government employees participating in the resignations was unclear.
Honestly, Trump vowed to build this wall during his election, and no one in the government listened to him. He's just trying to accomplish what he promised the people.
Chad, it is not just about accomplishing his policies. The TSA is one of the lowest paying organizations in the government, so the government shutdown affected many of them in dramatic ways. The effects of this change for many included moving back in with parents, taking out personal loans, and eviction. Senator Mazie Hirono argued that Trump was negotiating from a hostage-taking position by holding government workers' livelihoods at stake to get what he wanted. Trump's manipulation of the government in order to control immigration has highlighted the lengths Trump is willing to take to make his wall successful. If he is willing to go this far with his border wall, it just shows how little he cares about the people affected by his immigration policies.
Yeah, but this doesn't speak on all that Trump has done in office. He definitely has some policies that are questionable, but I still believe the Muslim ban is in America's best interest.
I still have to disagree, Chad. The travel ban is not effective at protecting America from outside threats because most of the terrorist activity comes from people already in this country, according to research done by New America, a Washington-based think tank. Of the 13 perpetrators of lethal jihadist terrorist attacks in the state since 9/11, which, by the way, killed a total of 94 people, all were American citizens or legal permanent residents. So if you really wanted to lower mortality rates, then maybe you should be pro-gun control.
Gun control does seem to be a hot topic related to this issue. While I personally believe guns can be beneficial for the people's protection in some areas like Texas, accessibility to these weapons is also a way that terrorism continues to happen from both domestic and foreign threats.
Even if gun control is not the best solution for this country right now, there are better options in targeting certain countries from entering the U.S., especially when most of the immigrants trying to come here are clearly seeking work opportunities and a chance at a better life.
I tend to agree with Sharon on this one, Chad. Most immigrants from these countries, although stereotypical antagonists to the U.S., are not looking to maliciously attack the U.S.
I mean, that's definitely one way to look at it. I've always held the belief that American government should protect its citizens, but the threat of terrorism from these countries doesn't seem to justify the extreme approach Trump's taking. Maybe there is a better way to go about this.
Now that we have heard both sides of the issue, what are some ways the audience can support?
The audience can vote. Some potential 2020 candidates for the presidency who support immigration are Kamala Harris and Bernie Sanders. Kamala Harris is an American attorney and politician, and she is a member of the Democratic Party. She has also served as United States Senator for California since 2017. She is very pro-immigration, and she is a vocal champion of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or the DACA program for short. Bernie Sanders ran for presidency in 2016 against Donald Trump. He is an American politician who has served as a junior United States Senator from Vermont since 2007. He believes Trump's views on immigration are heartless, and at the heart of his immigration policy is to unite families, not divide them. He also supports Obama's reforms on DAPA and DACA.
Thank you for that message, Sharon. That's a great way to be involved in the Muslim ban discussion. We are all out of time today. Thank you all for coming to the show.
Thanks, Piper. It's been a pleasure. And it has been eye-opening to see the other side. I feel like I definitely learned something today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
If you listeners want to show support to the movement against the Muslim ban, here are your options. Join the National Network for Immigration and Refugee Rights, or the NNIRR. You can also vote for Kamala Harris or Bernie Sanders in the upcoming primaries. Also, if you want to learn more about how to get involved with your Republican scene on campus, go to the College Republican National Committee website at crnc.org. Chad also wants to drop his Instagram as well, so follow at ChadMiller69 for some sick pictures of Chad drinking. Thank you, Sharon and Chad, for being here today. As always, I'm Piper Lyons, and have a piping hot day.